This had some observers wondering if the presence of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese would have the stands packed for Team USA. Not Puerto Rico. No. Oh, no. Team USA draws the lowest attendance.
Did you see what just happened to Caitlin Clark on the court? Stephen A. Smith is furious, and you're about to find out why. This isn't just about a rookie getting roughed up, it's about the future of the WNBA. Ready to see how one player's journey could change everything? Now you might be wondering, who exactly is Caitlin Clark? And why is she causing such a stir in the WNBA? Let's rewind and take a look at her incredible journey to start. It all started at the University of Iowa, where Clark became a basketball sensation. She wasn't just good, she was exceptional. Her performances on the court were so impressive that she led her team all the way to the national championship game. Can you believe it? A small town girl from Iowa taking the college basketball world by storm. But that was just the beginning. When draft day came around, there was no question about who would be the top pick. The Indiana Fever selected Caitlin Clark as the #1 overall pick in the WNBA draft. It was a no-brainer. They knew they were getting a once-in-a-generation talent. Now, here's where things get really exciting. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing well in the WNBA, she's transforming the entire league. Want to know how much of an impact she's having? The numbers don't lie. Since Clark joined the league, there's been a mind-blowing 143% increase in ratings. That's not a typo. 143%. But wait, it gets even better. Clark's games aren't just popular. They're breaking records. 3 of the 4 TV games that averaged over 1.3 million viewers this season involved Clark's team. That's right. In her rookie season, she's already part of some of the most watched games in WNBA history. How's that for making an entrance? Stephen A. Smith put it perfectly when he said, "She fills seats. She brings the cameras. She brings national publicity." Clark isn't just a player. She's a phenomenon. She's bringing new fans to the sport and making people sit up and take notice of women's basketball like never before. And if you think her impact is just about ratings and viewership, think again. Clark is on pace to becoming the first rookie ever to average at least 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. That's the kind of all-around performance that can change the game. But here's where we hit a snag in this Cinderella story. Despite Clark's incredible individual success, her team, the Indiana Fever, is struggling. They're not just having a hard time, they're at the bottom of the standings. Can you imagine how frustrating that must be for Clark? She's giving it her all, breaking records, drawing crowds, but her team just can't seem to get it together. This is where the real challenge lies for Clark. She's not just facing tough opponents on the court, she's carrying the weight of an entire franchise on her shoulders. The pressure is immense. Every game, every play, she knows all eyes are on her. The fans expect miracles, the media is watching her every move, and her teammates are looking to her for leadership, all while she's still finding her footing as a rookie in the league. You're not gonna believe what happened in Caitlin Clark's latest game. The Indiana Fever were facing off against the Chicago Sky, and things got ugly real fast. Kennedy Carter of the Sky committed a flagrant foul against Clark that left everyone watching in shock. This wasn't just any ordinary foul. It was so bad that Stephen A. Smith called it a cheap shot that had no place in basketball. Picture this. Clark's trying to inbound the ball, minding her own business, when out of nowhere, Carter comes at her with a move that looked more like something you'd see in a wrestling ring than on a basketball court. It was so bad that the league had to review it after the game and upgrade it to a flagrant 1 violation. Can you believe that? Stephen A. was furious, saying Carter should have been ejected on the spot. Now you might be thinking, okay, rough fouls happen in basketball all the time, right? But here's the thing, this isn't an isolated incident. Clark's been facing this kind of treatment game after game. She's even spoken out about how frustrated she is with the officiating, feeling like opponents are allowed to get away with more physical play against her than anyone else. But why is this happening? Why are players coming at Clark so hard? Well, Stephen A. Smith has a theory, and it's not pretty. He thinks some players in the league might be feeling a little green with envy. Can you blame them? Clark's burst onto the scene like a supernova, grabbing headlines, breaking records, and landing massive endorsement deals that most WNBA players can only dream of. Imagine being a veteran in the league, working your tail off for years, And suddenly, this rookie comes in and seems to get all the attention and money. It's not hard to see how that might ruffle some feathers. But here's where it gets dangerous. That jealousy and resentment are translating into rough play on the court. Now, let's talk about what this could mean for Clark and the WNBA. If this keeps up, we're looking at some serious consequences. First off, there's Clark's safety to think about. Basketball's a physical sport, sure, but no one should have to worry about getting injured because of dirty plays. And what about her career? If she's constantly getting roughed up, it could affect her performance or even cut her career short. But it's not just about Clark. This whole situation could be a PR nightmare for the WNBA. Think about it. You've got this amazing new talent that's bringing in viewers like never before, and instead of celebrating her, it looks like the league's letting her get bullied on the court. That's not a good look. And it's definitely not going to help grow the fan base. Stephen A. Smith didn't mince words when he talked about this. He said, and I quote, "A rising tide raises all boats." What he means is that Clark's success isn't just good for her. It's good for everyone in the WNBA. More viewers, more interest, more money coming into the league. That benefits every single player. You know what's really shocking about this whole Caitlin Clark situation? It's not just the rough play from opponents, it's the silence from her own team. Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back when he called out Clark's teammates and coaches. He straight up asked, "Where are her teammates at? You're supposed to protect the asset." And you know what? He's got a point. Think about it. In any sport, your teammates are supposed to have your back. They're your second family on the court. But when it comes to Clark, it's like she's out there on her own. Can you imagine how that feels? You're giving everything you've got, breaking records, bringing in the fans, and your own team just watches? This isn't just about being nice. It's about smart basketball. Clark isn't just any player. She's the future of the franchise. She's the one filling seats and bringing in those big TV ratings. So why aren't her teammates stepping up to protect her? Now you might be thinking, well, maybe they're just not that close yet. Clark's still new to the team. But here's the thing. In professional sports, you don't have the luxury of time to build those bonds. You need to have each other's backs from day one, especially when you've got a rookie who's facing this kind of pressure and physical play. Let's break it down. When a star player like Clark is getting roughed up on the court, it's not just about that one game. It's about setting a precedent. If other teams see that they can get away with playing dirty against Clark, guess what? They're going to keep doing it. And if her own teammates don't step in, it's like giving the green light to the whole league to target her. But it's not just the players. The coaching staff is under fire too. Matt Bonds didn't mince words when he said the teammates should be ashamed for not stepping up, and he's right. The head coach's response to all this? Pretty lukewarm. That's not going to cut it when you've got a generational talent on your hands. Now, let's talk about what could happen if this keeps up. First off, there's the risk of injury. Basketball is a physical sport, sure, but constant rough play increases the chances of Clark getting hurt. And an injured Clark? That's bad news for everyone, the team, the league, the fans. You know what's really exciting about this whole Caitlin Clark situation? It's not just about her amazing skills on the court. It's about how her success could change the game for everyone in the WNBA. Stephen A. Smith said it best when he dropped this truth bomb. A rising tide raises all boats. And let me tell you, Clark is one heck of a tide. Now, let's talk money for a second. Did you hear about Clark's endorsement deal? It's not just big, it's massive. We're talking $28 million. That's right, $28 million. Can you even wrap your head around that kind of cash? Now compare that to the WNBA's maximum salary of $250,000. The difference is mind-blowing. But here's the thing. Clark's success isn't just good for her bank account. It's potentially game-changing for every single player in the league. Think about it. If Clark can bring in this kind of money and attention, what does that mean for the WNBA as a whole? First off, we're talking about more eyeballs on the game. Clark's not just playing basketball, she's putting on a show, and people are tuning in like never before. Remember those rating increases we talked about earlier? That's not just good for Clark. It's good for every player who steps on the court. And more viewers mean more money. More money for the league, more money for the teams, and eventually more money for the players. Can you imagine a world where WNBA players are making the kind of cash that NBA players do? It might seem far-fetched now, but with stars like Clark leading the way, it's not as crazy as you might think. But it's not just about the money. Clark's success is opening doors that have been closed for too long. She's proving that women's basketball can be just as exciting demanding, just as skillful, and just as marketable as men's. And that's huge for every girl out there who's dreaming of playing in the WNBA. Now, you might be thinking, but how does this help the other players right now? Well, it's all about opportunities. With more attention on the league, every player gets a chance to shine. Sponsors are taking notice. Media coverage is increasing, and that means more chances for every player to show what they can do. Think about it like this. Clark might be the star of the show right now, but she's not the only talented player in the league. Far from it. There are amazing athletes on every team, players who can do things on the court that'll make your jaw drop. And now, thanks to the spotlight Clark's bringing to the league, more people are going to see those players too. And here's where it gets really exciting. As the league grows, as more money comes in, as more fans tune in, it's not just the superstars who will benefit. We could be looking at better salaries across the board, better facilities, better travel conditions, all the things that WNBA players have been fighting for years. But for all this to happen, there needs to be unity. Players need to see that Clark's success isn't a threat, it's an opportunity to grow the game, to reach new heights, to achieve things that might have seemed impossible just a few years ago.